Represent.
Hello world, the planet's ultimate hip-hop station. This is Tory Chew.
Shout out to everybody out there that's tuning in. This is definitely your one and only Brooklyn's favorite Jersey girl. Shout out to Newark, New Jersey, because I definitely don't want Newark, New Jersey to get upset. So this is your girl Tory Chew, and we're live in effect. And you're tuning in live from the trap with Tory Chew. Thank you to everybody out there that's tuning in. As you all know out there, this is our special Independent Women's Week, and I'm really happy. You know, this is something different because I am a woman, and I definitely want to recognize some women out there that are doing some amazing things and some women that go overlooked. So yesterday we had Black Rose kick it off with her revelations in June, and today we have one of the most important women out there, I would say, who's in the 21st century for education. A lot of you out there who listen to my show, you guys know that the urban education system, and I am very aware and very knowledgeable about all education systems in terms of urban education, because a lot of you out there know I used to be an educator myself. So we know what's lacking, and I know that there's a lot of things lacking, and a lot of people out there use different addresses to go to different schools. Now, I'm not going to put anybody on blast, but you do what you have to do for your children, okay? So in this particular case, today's guest on the air is Kelly Williams Bolar. In Ohio, and I'm pretty sure it was in 2011, she was convicted and sent to prison. Okay, it made national headlines for sending her children to school in a neighboring district. Now, I don't know how many of you out there have done this and have actually went to jail for this, but Ohio sent her to jail. They wanted her to pay $30,000. Now, if you're living in an urban community, most people cannot afford to pay $30,000. Actually, I've looked at some of the most popular and most prestigious elementary schools and preschools and colleges, and I mean, I think Harvard isn't even $30,000 a year. Anyway, no shade, but this is your girl Tory Chew, and I'm really excited that we have her on the air with us today. We're going to hear her side of the story. She was on Dr. Phil. I'm just doing a lot of sighing because we know how this goes, but it's really sad to me how a parent who wanted the best for their child was sent to jail for doing the best. We want parents to do good and to do well, but when they try to do better, it's kind of like a catch-24, catch-22, or catch whatever. However, I would like to formally welcome Kelly Williams Bolar to the show. Thank you for being on the show. You're on the air live with Tory Chew. How are you?
Hi, Tory. I'm so fine. Just thank you so much. I just feel honored tonight to be on the show with you. Thank you.
Well, thank you for accepting my request. I know we set everything up for April and things became busy and they didn't really work out, but things work out perfectly and the audience is listening in and they're excited. So what's going on with you? Are you in a good mood today?
Yes, I am. I am definitely in a good mood. I've been in a good mood most of my life until that moment.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Can you introduce yourself to the listeners out there?
Okay. Hello, listeners, and my name is Kelly Williams Bolar. I'm from Akron, and I did have a situation where I was sentenced, and I received a felony, had to go to jail for sending my two daughters to my parents' school district. They lived in a suburban area, and I lived in the inner city area.
Okay, so with all this stuff that's taken place and have taken place, can you kind of tell us a little bit about the school system that your children were attending before you sent them to your parents' school system?
Okay. The school system that I had initially, they were in my neighboring school system. That school system was not ranked. The rating for that school was not where it should be, and it was not acceptable. And I believe they were like in a code red, and that means in this area that means that that they're not, that school is not where it should be as far as academically. So what I did was, me and my father had talked, and I asked him, would it be, well, actually, he mentioned it. He said it would be good if you can, why don't you just send the kids out here? He built his home, his land. He had land out there. He built his home. He was like, look, I pay taxes. I pay the mortgage every month. Just send them out here. So that is what I did. And I sent them there for 2 years. And, of course, I got caught. They have investigators, private eyes that they hire from out of area. They hired this one gentleman that lived in Cleveland. That's about 45 miles away from Akron, where I'm at. And he just basically watched us for maybe 10 days, watching me transport my 2 daughters back and forth. And at the time, my oldest daughter was in the 7th grade, her first year, and of course, 8th grade, her second year, because they attended that school 2 years. And my youngest, my baby, she was in the 3rd and 4th grade. And, he was watching us, and I totally, didn't have a clue about that, and he had footage and everything. And so I received a letter saying that you need to take your kids out because we have clear and convincing evidence that you do not live in this area. Now, why would they, target us? I don't know. The only thing I can think of, because the school was not, with majority, Caucasians at that school. So I guess it's easy to narrow it down to maybe who you want to see who actually resides in a particular area or not.
Right. Okay, so with that being said, because that was definitely, I kind of feel like they spent more money trying to track you guys down than they spent on making the school system a little better. Like, what do you think?
Definitely, yes, of course. They spent a lot of money hiring private eyes to watch what you're doing on a daily basis. I just, all that was so new to me. I was like, why would they do that? And, my kids are not irate kids. They didn't have behavior. They were good girls at the school. I mean, both of my daughters, they did not cause attention, or they didn't have any behavior. So I just never understood why they would take those resources, like you said, out from the school and follow parents around or follow me around.
Okay. And I definitely, that's something that's just okay. That took a lot of time. So also, okay. So there was a lot of things going on in the school system that made you decide to use your father's address. You agree with him. To a degree, do you believe that you definitely were singled out by the school district? Like, do you think other people were doing the same thing, or no?
Now, I had a friend. We was transporting both our kids to the school. She's also African American. She's black. And they questioned her as well. But there was another lady who was not black, and they never ever, and we all lived out of the district. So that made me wonder, right then, what was really going on, because I just totally believe that we were definitely sized out.
Okay. So is it uncommon in parents in different areas where the crime is high and the school system is struggling in terms of teachers, violence, resources, safety? Is that uncommon for them to use a different address? Because I know, and I'm not going to put anybody on blast, but I know that's very common in a lot of areas.
It's very common here, too. It's common. I didn't invent that. It's common before, when I was coming up. I had family and cousins that used my aunts, my uncles, my grandmother, everybody's address because they wanted to go to a different school for whatever reason, back then.
Right.
But, now it's definitely more than likely it's for academics, in the present modern days. But yeah, definitely. It's very common.
Okay, so when all of this came up, when they said, look, we got this footage of you, we've seen what you've taken place, like, how did that make you feel? That they were following you and that they were trying to send you to jail for this?
Yeah, I was taken back because, first of all, I was just going about my life. I had just gotten a divorce. And I had been married for years. I just got a divorce. You know, I got my two daughters. I'm in college. I'm working part-time at the school, at one of the inner city schools. I work with children with disabilities. So, you know, I was just going. I was just, you know, doing my life, just living, you know, just trying to make it. And then when this comes up, it's like, well, wait a minute, you know, this is totally out of control, you know. And then people of higher, you know, what's the word I'm trying to use? Many individuals thought, well, you know, I challenged the school. Well, I didn't challenge the school. I did not challenge the school. That school came after me, but they thought, since I wanted to go to court, you know, and go through the procedure, that I challenged them. Well, no, I just wanted the people to hear my side.
Right. Right. And you did have a side, because the school system wasn't really doing what they were supposed to be doing, and you were trying to do what was best for your children.
That's right.
You know?
And I had safety issues as well, you know, in my neighborhood. And my kids were definitely not latchkey kids. And I don't know if, you know, many people may not know what latchkey is, because they really don't use that word anymore. But latchkey is basically a child that has his or her own key, and, you know, the parents are not there, and they just make their way in and take care of this, you know, themselves until their parents return from work or whatever. And so with me, you know, my neighborhood wasn't safe. I just did not feel comfortable leaving them alone. And I would just, we just thought it was in the best interest of my children, for my dad to see them off the bus, because my father was sick, but he was able enough to see, them back and forth from the bus if I wasn't available.
Okay. All right. And that makes sense. So, okay, at the time, you were a teacher's aide. You were 12 credits away from obtaining your teacher's degree. How did that affect, you know, like this attempt to better your children's education? How did this affect your goals, your career? Was all of that affected by this?
Oh, yes, most definitely. I have not returned back to university yet. I went through a deep depression.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just wasn't able to focus academically on my own. Just trying to get things, you know, together. Just trying to sort things out. You know, that this was a tornado that I was in. You know, I'm much better now. But at that particular time, and in recent months, I've gotten better. But I was just going through a lot of mental things. When you can get taken out of your life and for something as much as what they consider a district jumping, and go to jail for it and receive felonies, that plays with your mind. Because
right.
I wasn't out there trying to rob banks. I didn't use McDonald's address. I used my parents' address.
Right.
You know, so yeah. And I have not, I still have my associate's degree, but I do not have my BA degree yet in education. But I still work with children with disabilities. I'm an advocate. I've been an advocate ever since I started working with children or working at schools. I work with many different kids: autism, Asperger's, Down syndrome, whatever. That's my passion. That's what I love. But I also, travel and I talk and I tell my story as well. But as far as me getting my BA, I have not done it yet.
That's really sad, and I really hate to hear that, but you will. You definitely will. And, I'm glad to see that you've come a long way since then, because I know this has definitely been something that's been stressful for you. How's your family doing? Like, how are your children? How's your parents?
Okay. Well, I don't know. I'm not for sure how much what you know about my dad. But see, me and my father stood trial together. Okay. Well, they could not find, I want the listeners to understand something. When you get into a situation, especially the judicial system, you are in something that you have no control over, and they will do as they please. And let me explain that. Let me break that down to you.
Mm-hmm.
My father could not be, they could not find, okay, they charged him for the same thing, falsifying documents, but they couldn't get him on that because I'm the only one that signed my kids up, not him. Then they also charged him with grand theft. Well, that was his house and his land and his he paid taxes, so they had to drop those charges.
Right.
Now, when you get in the lion's mouth, and many people have heard of my story, but they didn't really they did not really elaborate on my father. So what happened was they started charging my dad with other things. My dad was 65 years old. He was very sick, and they didn't care. They were like, you're going to pay for this because I had received an outpour from across this nation. People were calling that building and trying to figure out what was really going on, and they didn't like that. So when you get into a situation like that, they're not going to just let it go.
Right.
So they start finding anything, and they were like, "Well, you're on disability. Well, you didn't turn in your wife's income." And so they said, "So we're going to send you to the." They said he stole $100,000 of health benefits, and they sent my father to the penitentiary for a year. My father died there alone. Never in my life would I have ever thought that my father would die alone, away from us. That would not have. I would never have thought that would have been the end of my father's legacy or story. He died a broken man. He was so distraught because we all know that it was all initially because of education. And of course, I would never have done that if I ever thought that they would have taken that. So I tell people all the time, just please be careful out here, because you get into that situation and they don't know how to just to let something go.
Man, I'm so sorry to hear that. Wow. So yeah, your life has been affected tragically in so many ways, and it's devastating, and a lot of people still wouldn't even be standing right now. So I'm glad that you're on here telling your story. And I know that you did say that you received a lot of support from your community. So did you receive more support or more people scrutinizing you?
You know what? It was I had a lot of support. I did have a lot of support, so I'm not going to ever play that down. But I also had a lot of people who also, they kind of scrutinized. And if you ever watched the show, and it was so ironic because I tell you what, this happened. I went to jail in January. February, they had released me because the governor had gotten involved too. My governor, John Kasich, had gotten involved, and he got me out. He was like, no. He took my felonies off and everything. But let me rewind. In February, it was so ironic that I watched the movie Rosa Parks. Mm-hmm. And as I was watching the show, I realized her scenario was so similar. When you look at how her town divided, a lot of them were mad at her because they thought that she stirred up something. And I tell you, it was so very similar because a lot of people were mad. Many people were coming here. We had Jesse Jackson coming. We had Al Sharpton, and I remember Al Sharpton. He was telling me he was at the airport, and the lady said, "Oh, you're just coming to town to stir up problems." He said, "No, I'm not. I'm not coming to stir up problems. I'm coming to help, alleviate some of the issues that's going on in the town."
Right.
So yeah, you have many people who have that mentality of stay in your place.
Wow, this is just crazy. And so we see that Dr. Phil, which I'm not surprised, but he became a part of this incident and he got himself involved. How did Dr. Phil become a part of this case?
Well, he reached out to me. He called me and he kept calling. I was like, Dr. Phil, I didn't know, I was nervous, okay? I was so green. I had never been on, TV or anything, radio, TV, print, nothing. So I was like, well, why do you want me to come out there and come along? And I had never traveled. I was green with everything. Never traveled by myself, anything. And so I went on out there, and because he asked, and he had his producers and stuff contact me. And that interview was interesting because when the lights, when the camera was not rolling, or during the commercial, or once it was over, he was all 100% behind me and understood my plight, understood my situation. But when that camera was rolling, he was very right wing, trying to be hard and stuff. And I just, it was that was a very exhausting interview.
Okay. And I can imagine. I definitely can imagine that it was. I did catch some of the interview, and there's like a small piece of it on YouTube. So, do you believe that he was like, okay, so you said behind the cameras he was supporting you, but on screen he kind of was not.
Right.
What do you think is the reason?
Yeah. I'm sorry, what you said?
What did you think was his reasoning for that?
Well, I just think, I think politics has a lot to do with those kind of shows, like Dr. Phil shows. I think politics has a lot to do with it.
Okay. All right. I understand. So he's like, look, I need to keep my show going. So this is what we got to do.
Right.
Got you.
Because he got a lot of viewers, and, I don't know his numbers, but I guarantee you, it ain't a lot of, there's a lot of, all kind of folks watching,
Right. I understand. So has the former school system, that's Akron school system, have they made any changes for the better or for the worse since this whole incident took place, or is it about the same?
You know what? It's ironic you even mentioned that. Okay. When that happened, immediately within 18 months, they started to tear down the old buildings. They all of a sudden had all this millions of dollars, and they built quite a few brand new buildings. But some schools are still lacking. We had it was just a write up. You can Google it or not. It was just a write up recently that our guy, because LeBron James, he's from here. He's from Akron.
Right.
He grew up right here with us. So he had a helicopter, and they flew down and gave all the kids at a particular high school some uniforms, football uniforms for the kids, because that high school had nothing. I mean, like, these kids didn't have any padding, anything. Everything was tore up. And he went and got them some uniforms for the whole team. So, I just want to put that out there that,
okay,
we still have some issues.
Okay, well, definitely shout out to LeBron, who definitely is supporting where he's from, and that's definitely what's up. That's a good thing to see people come back to the community and make some good changes. Right. So that's definitely good. So, okay, how did you start to pick up the pieces after you were sent to jail, convicted? You lost your father. You were on a Dr. Phil show. How did you get your life back together?
Well, it just seemed like I started. People started calling, and they wanted me to. I had to talk about it. And let me tell you something. When I wasn't talking about it, it was still in my head. So, but when people wanted me to come, maybe speak about it, maybe come to a church, maybe come to a function, maybe come to a women, I received an award from Black Alliance Education Options. It's a BAO. When things like that started happening, it helped to release. It was more therapeutic. I was able to they wanted me to tell my story. Like New York has given me a lot of love. Jersey has given me a lot of love. Chicago, many places like that, they'll call me and I'll go back, and they'll just want me to, tell my story. And I do. And I get, and it's such, it became therapeutic after a while. It was almost like I needed to do that. It was like, this is a fight. I need to get out here and talk about my story and what happened. And that helped me get through so much, because I'm going to tell you something. I was damaged good.
And you know what? And I understand, but you definitely have a story to tell. You have one of the greatest stories out there. Like I said, so many people do that, and so many people, I don't even think they know that you can go to jail for something like that. They wanted you to pay more money than it costs to go to college.
Right. That's right. Right. That was ridiculous. And I also wrote a book too, an autobiography, and that also helps too. Like I said, that was there. So if anybody, and I just tell people, if you're going through something out here and you're going into a deep, because a lot of especially African Americans, we sometimes we're in a depression and we don't even know it, because we're already socioeconomically, we're already in a funk.
Right.
So So write down your issues, write down whatever it is, and you look up. You might have a small autobiography or something, and you can tell your stories that maybe that can help someone else.
Right, you're definitely right. So where can we find this autobiography at?
Amazon. You go to Amazon. I have an electronic, and I have the actual books too. And you just go to Amazon and look up the Kelly Williams Bolar story, and you'll see it there. Just go there.
Okay, well that's definitely good. And I just kind of want to know: do you regret anything that took place regarding this case?
Definitely. If I could turn back the time, I would not have done that, because it just all made me look. I look. I grew up very quiet. That girl that hung out with the girl that was loud. That was who I was. You know what I'm saying? I was that girl in high school that hung out with the girl that was always, everybody knew her, but they didn't really know me, but they knew I hung out with her.
Mm-hmm.
So as an adult, I still was basically just, quiet and doing my thing. So when that happened, and it just busted the doors wide open, and my life was just like, they wanted to know every aspect of my life and everything, and they were just putting everything out there. They were just telling everything about me, my GPA. It went so deep, and it was like, golly, I can't get a break,
Right.
and they just kept hammering me. So yeah, and then I lost my daddy. That was my daddy, and he was a good man. And he was always there for me. When we were young, it was just me and my brother. But my dad always told us, he was like, you guys are everything to me, and I would die for you. And never, ever thought that those words would actually come to pass. We just used to say, oh, yeah, right, whatever, Daddy. But, never thought that would be, that it would actually come to pass, those words.
Yeah.
You have to be careful what you speak out here, too. But, yeah, I just...
Okay.
Definitely, I just, sorry.
Well, no, that's okay, and I really think that it's good that a lot of people out here hear your story, so they're aware that if you are sending your kids to a different district and you didn't know, but now you're listening to Live from the Trap, and you can go to jail for that. So, and you can be on TV and go on Dr. Phil and get headlines and all type of chaos, and the media is going to be outside. This is crazy. So
yeah, and it's just your life it's not your life anymore though, because they just they look for everything. Which I wasn't even all out there like that, but the little stuff that I did have in my little life, they was like, well, look at her GPA and this and that and the other. I'm like, well, I wasn't going to school to be a doctor.
Right. Okay. And what does that have to do with anything? But okay.
Exactly.
Okay. So what advice do you have for parents out there who are living in a school system that's lacking and they are considering doing the same thing that you did? What can you tell them?
Okay. I would tell them to just really stay involved with your school district if you can. Find out what laws they have too, because we have so many different laws now. In recent time, we have laws that if your administration or your teacher, if that teacher at that school building is not doing what they're supposed to do, parents, you have a voice now.
Right.
And you can call, you can say, hey, I don't like that teacher. But it's not just one parent. It would have to be, organized, and it would have to be several parents that will come to this and say, look, this is what happened this past 6 months or past school year, and we don't like this. That teacher needs to be, evaluated or looked at, because no way my child should be getting these F's or D's. So there's many different avenues now that you can do to help, to help better your child's education. And like I say, just stay involved, stay at that school, stay in contact with the teacher. And no, our children are not angels. We know that. And we know that it's going to be other kids that come into the schools, to the classroom, that might cause behaviors that will distract, your child from learning. we know that can happen, but that's our job as a parent, is to say, hey, try to, that's our job, is to plant that seed in our children's mind, and tell them, look, you're there for a purpose, you're there to learn, and we got to get this going, because we want you to, be the best that you can be. So it's our contribute as well as just not a good school system. It's everything all together.
Right. No, you're perfect. You're right. We're right. There are a lot of laws out there. There's a lot of different things that parents can do to help the process.
Yeah.
So that was some really good advice. So everybody out there who's tuning in, you just got some good points on what you can do to help your children and protect them when you feel like everything else in the system is not working. So,
right.
What are you currently working on now? I know you have your book, and what else are you working on?
I do have my book. I'm supposed to be working with Michelle Bernard. I'm not for sure if you know who that is, but she does a lot of the GOPs, and like right now with the running with the presidency poll and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
She's normally on CNN, MSNBC. She's just like a current event commentator, and so she and I are supposed to be collaborating together, and doing a women's conference, or and just like a tour, and then to tell our story, and hopefully that'll transpire soon. And I just had, if anybody can check it out, I just was on the John Stossel show, and that was on the news, Fox News Business. I'll pop up here and there. I pop up every now and then. Someone will call and say, come on our show, or come, they like to do a write-up or whatever, and I'm just an advocate. I've changed laws. I helped Connecticut. I went to Connecticut a couple of years ago, helped to change their law that now no other parent will go to jail for sending their kids to another school district,
Awesome.
district counting. Yeah, and that was such a success. So happy that now sistering states like PA, they're in the process. The state reps will be back in office probably any day now. And I went there and I talked to them and helped to because there's only like 7 states that do that
Okay.
will put the parents in jail for it. So I'm just making my way around and just trying to help.
Well, you're doing an amazing job. Like, that's great. Like, we're loving to hear all of these great things that you're working on. And shout out to everybody out there that's listening. You have an amazing audience right now, so shout out to everybody. Brooklyn, I definitely see you. They want to definitely shout out to Gas.
Hey, Brooklyn. Hey, I love it. I love Brooklyn.
They definitely are sending in those shout outs. So that's what's up, Brooklyn. I see you. Shout out. Also, how can people reach you?
They can reach me. They can email me at Kelly, Kelley, Williams, Williams, Bolar, B as in boy, OLAR, at gmail.com. That's my email. I do have a business line. That number is 330. That's the area code. The actual number is 338-2752. Again, that number is 330-338-2752. And go on my Facebook. I know I got a couple of Facebooks that I've seen on there, but if you have to Google, I hear so many people saying, I try to Google you on Facebook, but that's all I see is your jail picture, and stuff. So, no, that's not me. I mean, it's me, but I didn't create that one.
Right.
It was people that had my back, and so they created a couple Facebook pages, and they are horrendous. Okay, so don't worry about those. Just you can look on there for that. And I have an Instagram, and that one's KAYDW _ Oh, actually, it's I am KAYDW _
Well, that's definitely, you know what, I'm really happy that you're on the air. I'm glad that you were able to tell us your story. Do you want to just leave anybody else with anything else, or you're good?
I just want to say, first of all, Tory, thanks. I mean, for real, you don't know how much I appreciate that you reached out. Wait a minute. Initially, I reached out to you, but it don't matter because you reached back out to me. And I just appreciate that so much, and I'm so honored that we, talked tonight, and I just hope that I can help other parents out there, and that's it.
Well, thank you for accepting my request because, yeah, we were supposed to do this months ago, but timing is perfect, and I believe everything happens at the right time for the right reason. And so whoever's listening tonight needed to hear what was being said tonight, and I really appreciate you for everything that you've done. I'm sorry that you went through so many things, but I feel like it has so many great last ending results.
Thank you so much. And if anybody needs me to come and speak, at a church or a women's center, or anything, or a school, reach out, call me.
That would be great. And you're actually, it's hard for me to believe that you were the quiet friend. It is really hard, but
oh yeah, I was the quiet. Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, look. My friend, she was. You remember that? I don't know if you remember that. It used to be an old rap called Got a Big Mouth. I think it was called Big Mouth. Big Mouth. Girl got a big mouth or something like that. Mm-hmm. Well, that's what they used to rap when they would see her.
But you know what? All the things that you went through, now you out here and you got to tell the world, right?
That's right. Gotta tell the world.
And that's your job. So thank you for being a guest on the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for listening in, too.
Thank you. And we're going to work on that booking because we definitely need you in the building. Definitely.
Okay.
So you have a wonderful night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you.